I think they're going to use this as a big example, like to send a shockwave through the crypto markets. Like, if you're going to do this, you're going to get punished just the same as if you're doing fraud in the stock market or anywhere else.
Hey guys, welcome back to Library of Wealth. Today we have Gareth Soloway giving us his Bitcoin price prediction and crypto market update, as well as how they're being affected by the recent collapse of FTX. After a recent request for a judge to keep confidential the identities of two individuals who helped him secure his $250 million bail, Sam Bankman-Fried was notified that the US government is moving to seize more than $460 million worth of Robinhood shares as part of the fraud case against him and other FTX officials. The government is also taking control of assets and bank accounts that were part of a bankruptcy case involving one unit of the FTX empire in the Bahamas. One thing that still baffles investors is why Sam pled not guilty to the charges of wire and securities fraud, with the overwhelming amount of evidence stacked against him. Let's listen to this interview with Gareth Soloway as he gives his investment advice for Bitcoin during the collapse and what we can expect next in 2023. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content we do here on this channel. Let's get right into the video.
So basically, the biggest thing that I'm keeping an eye on here is there's a couple positives and negatives, right? So the big thing here is your FTX collapse drop. That so far price is staying in the lower range of that drop. As long as price stays in that lower range, it creates what's called a bear flag, or in spirit of bear flag. And as the name suggests, it is overall bearish. So in general, I'm kind of in the camp that we're probably headed a little bit lower. I have some levels down here around 13,000, give or take a little bit, that I think eventually will break through. The big spot is going to be the low here, right? The FTX collapse low around 15,700. If we take that out, that's where the next leg lower probably kicks in. On the positive side, so always like to kind of talk about a little bit of a positive here. I think we are towards the end of the Bitcoin bear market, meaning that in the next 6 months, I'm anticipating a bottom. The reason I say that is there's some signals coming up here. Like if you look at the Terra Luna collapse, Bitcoin lost 45% of its value. With FTX, which was arguably a much bigger collapse for the crypto markets, Bitcoin only lost 25%. So you see this kind of ability for Bitcoin to almost shrug off a little bit of the negativity there. And I think that's usually a sign that we're getting closer to the bottom. And so the only other thing I would say here on the charts that I'm kind of keeping an eye on is that on the bullish side, let's say we don't break down, what would be a trigger for me to maybe start getting bullish? And that trigger would be if price could trade above the FTX collapse. Just on a psychological basis, that high right now is really powerful because it represented this major catastrophe within the crypto markets. So if price were able to get above that, I think that's where you'd have to say, okay, wait, maybe we do have a bottom already. Until that happens, I'm kind of on the sidelines.
All right, let's get into FTX now. So FTX crypto worth $3.5 billion was held by Bahama regulator. Gareth, give us your thoughts on this, like as a trader.
Yeah, I mean, so first off, I don't think I think it seems like he's getting a slap on the wrist because the law works slowly, but I think it's important for us to recognize, like, you go back to past fraud cases like Bernie Madoff, which was like massive billions and billions of dollars, much like this, frankly. The prosecutors, their job isn't to like put up little updates on Twitter like, we all want, right? They're to build this hardcore case that when they go in front of a judge, it's going to be like a slam dunk conviction. And I don't think they want to necessarily let out of the bag a lot of the little inside things that can be detrimental in the court of law, because they don't want to give his lawyers an opportunity to necessarily figure out how to rebut it too. So I think, honestly, I think he's going to be going away for 10 to 20 years at minimum. I think it'll turn out to be a pretty hefty situation. I think the only possibility or only positive could be for him is that it's seeming like there's a lot of money still there. It's just he put it in like real estate. He put it here. So the possibility maybe investors get a good chunk of it back would be the positive of it. But yeah, I mean, I think they're gonna use this as a big example, like to send a shockwave through the crypto markets. Like, if you're gonna do this, you're gonna get punished just the same as if you're doing fraud in the stock market or anywhere else.
Grant, do you think with his ties to political leaders, do you think he's going to get away with it? Because I don't know. It's like, what is, and
Christopher said, like, what can they hold over him? I mean, if we get conspiratorial, there's a lot of talk about, was there money funneling through Ukraine, right? And isn't Solana based in Ukraine? Yeah, I mean, so maybe there's something there where there's going to be a reason to keep him quiet and just not want to have the actual case. Just plea to something, get him in jail, and try to get it behind you.
The level of trust that has been shattered for crypto at this point is unknown. We're already starting to see markets in the red, and many analysts believe this is only the tip of the iceberg.
And again, it's a very kind of keen risk reward thought process, meaning that, when you go into something like this, you don't put a lot of money involved, but there's a lot of potential reward. So buying it down in this range, to me, it's like, okay, I'm going to only put 1% of my portfolio in it. If it goes to zero, I lose 1%. If it survives, and ultimately if it survives, it probably thrives. This could be an easy 10x, 20x, 30x scenario over the next couple of years. So I think, it's one of those things where you have to really just think about how much you're willing to lose and then take that shot if you're okay with it.
So after the bear market, where does it go?
Yep. All-time high. Top.
Oh my gosh.
Come on, just give me a number.
I think 120,000. I think
Okay.
the pumps are going to start getting progressively smaller over time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christopher?
If we're getting another one, I think we're definitely popping over 100,000. I've got a minimum around 150, 160, but I've got a couple of other scenarios where we could see it potentially, reaching 450,000. And a lot of that just depends on where exactly we are at the second. So yeah.
I'm with you on that one. Gareth, what is the all-time high in the bear market ends?
Wow. So I think it's going to take a little while. I think there's a lot of damage done in the crypto markets. The biggest thing, again, is going to be clarity through regulation, which will draw big money back in. I think it's going to take a few years, maybe into 2026, 2027. But I think the next bull market run will be, and let me show my chart here, because and again, this is going to make it really tough to predict, but see this trend line here? Wherever that is when price goes up there, maybe that's the target. So right now, right here, it's at 70 something thousand, but in 3 years, heck, this could be at 100, 150,000. I think makes sense if you connect that trend line, that could be where things are headed.
Soloway believes that it's important to recognize that the current long-term pattern is very bearish. He sees that Bitcoin has the ability to go down significantly in the next 30 days. According to Soloway, when the market declines, the Nasdaq is truly beginning to implode, which will actually support Bitcoin. He believes the top 50 coins with legitimate use cases should survive, with the majority of currencies being destroyed. What do you guys think about Gareth Soloway's prediction for Bitcoin and the impact that the fall of FTX is having on the current market? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. This is Library of Wealth. We'll see you in the next video.